Ready to proceed?
Sir.
Go ahead and bring our jury in, if you would, please. The pads on the chairs, I'm assuming. We're going to start sending somebody in with you.
Well, it takes a long time. There's 16 minutes.
All rise, everybody.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back. Thank you for coming back on time. We appreciate that. Has anybody contacted any of you or approached any of you about this case since you left here for lunch? If they have, please raise your hands. I do not see any hands. Has anybody conducted any research accidentally or intentionally on any of the issues, any of the parties, any of the attorneys, or any of the witnesses? And including with that anything in the newspaper that you might have seen on TV, the internet, radio, or any place else, or anybody contacted you about it? Anybody? Raise your hand. I don't see any hands. And has anybody seen any of the other jurors conducting what appeared to be research in this matter? I don't see any hands. Anybody need another pad, an additional pad? Are you okay? All right, very good. We're going to continue on with testimony. If we can have Ms. Ruffin Sinclair back on the stand, please. Yes, she's previously sworn. Take your time, ma'am. You don't need to rush. Move that microphone up just a little bit, if you would.
Oh.
Up, there you go. Not too high. There you go. That's right.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to lean into that microphone. Tell us your name once again, please.
Catalina Ruffin Sinclair.
And I'll remind you, you're still under oath. Mr. Anaku, please continue.
Thank you. Ma'am, a few more questions about Mr. Jeffers. Did you remain friendly with his fiancée after he was arrested?
For a while, yes, but she left and went back to the island.
She left and moved back to the islands? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you remain friendly with her until then?
Yes, sir.
Did you at one point tell Mr. Jeffers' attorney that you would be willing to testify on his behalf?
I don't recall.
The night that Mr. Jeffers was caught in your house, was that in Bessman's bedroom?
Yes.
And about what time was it? Do you know?
I know it was. I know definitely it was after 10:30.
Okay. Would any chance it would refresh your memory to read the police report from the case?
Yes.
Possibly?
Possibly.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may. I'd be happy to offer
stipulation to the time if counsel, if that's helpful to counsel. 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yes. Your Honor, can you stipulate the time is 1 o'clock in the morning?
You may. Jury may consider that stipulation.
Did you find out that it was, that when Mr. Jeffers was caught in the house at 1 a.m., that it was not the first time that he molested Bessman in your house?
Did I find out that night?
Did you find out eventually?
Eventually, yeah. Yes.
So I need to back up a little bit just to talk a little bit more about your relationships with Mr. James and Mr. Sinclair. You talked about the fights that you had. Did you ever fight with them where it was not a physical fight, just yelling?
Yes.
Okay. Did a lot of that go on as well?
Off and on, yeah. Pretty much.
You mentioned that when you would get hit, you hit back. Did the same apply in arguments? If you got yelled at, did you yell back?
Pretty much so, yes.
Was there a lot of yelling in the house?
Not to me, it wasn't.
No, not to you.
No.
It was normal?
With James was a different story from with Trevor.
What do you mean by that?
James was, you're not a lot of fussing. Trevor is more fussing.
Well, how about you? Was there a lot of fussing with you? Did you yell at the kids a lot?
Yeah, probably so, yes.
Okay. Were you angry a lot when the kids were younger?
No, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I mean, maybe angry with James or Trevor, but not to me I wasn't. I don't think I was.
Well, how about when you weren't angry with the kids, you don't think?
No, when I was angry with the kids, it was something they did. It wasn't like saying, for an example, if James did something that I would take it out on the kids. No, it wasn't like that.
Okay. When you would beat the kids with belts or extension cords or whatever, was it because you were angry?
With them,
Did you yell at them a lot when you were angry?
yes.
Did you cuss at them?
Not a big curse, no.
No? May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Showing you what's been marked as offense exhibits K, L, and M for identification. And I'm sorry, but can I ask you to look at those?
Yes.
Do you recognize those photos?
No.
You don't? Approach the witness again, Your Honor.
You may.
Showing you what's been marked as defense exhibit C for identification. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
Do you know who that photo depicts?
It looks like Brianna,
Brianna, who's Brianna?
Bessman's daughter.
Does that fairly and accurately depict the way that Brianna looked as a baby?
Yes.
Your Honor, do I offer defense exhibit C in evidence as defense next?
No objection.
All right, it'll come in as the next numbered exhibit.
Number 8.
Thank you.
Can I publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Can you see that photo, ma'am?
Yes.
Sure, can see it. Do you know where that photo was taken?
No.
I'm sorry?
Do I know where it was
Do
taken?
you know where it was taken?
In hospital.
In the
I
hospital.
think.
Do you know why Brianna was in the hospital?
Yes.
Why was that?
She had a 5-organ transplant.
A 5-organ transplant
Yes.
when she was a baby?
Yes.
Okay. And what did that cause her to be in and out of the hospital a lot?
Yes.
Do you know who that other person is in the photo?
Bessman.
That's Bessman? Okay. Do you know if Brianna, I'm sorry, ma'am, Brianna died recently?
Yes.
Did Bessman also have a son who died?
Yes.
Was he very young?
Yes.
Do you know what he died of?
I don't remember, no.
Do you know what SIDS is?
Yes.
Sudden
Sudden
infant
infant
death
death.
syndrome?
Yes.
Is that what he died of?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I would offer into evidence Defense Exhibit AT for identification. It's a 3-page police report from the Army Jeffers case.
By stipulation, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. It's by stipulation. It will be marked, come into the next numbered exhibit. Thank you.
I will have the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ashton.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Okafor's son that died, how old was he when he died? Your grandson, the one that you said died?
I think it was under 3 months.
Okay. And who was the mother?
Pearl Wallace.
Were Ms. Wallace and your son living together at the time?
I don't remember. I remember where it happened, but I don't remember. Because I think I was out of town when it happened, but
Do you recall when it happened?
no,
What year?
no.
Can you narrow it down for us at all, as far as,
No.
And the daughter that we've seen the photograph of, when was she born?
Brianna was 12 or 13, I think.
Pardon
11
me?
or 12.
I
No,
just
I don't
can't-
remember. I don't know what year she was born.
You don't.
I don't remember. No.
And when did she pass away?
This year, about
2015?
about a month ago.
About a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
How old was she when she passed away?
11.
11 years old?
10 or 11, I think.
I can't hear.
10 or 11, I'm not sure.
10 or 11, okay.
Mhm.
And did she succumb to the sort of illness related to her birth defect? Is that what took her life?
No, because I was thinking that too, when they told me she had a she normally don't have seizures, but she had it was like the second one. It was from a seizure.
And who was her mother?
Pearl Wallace.
So both the son and the daughter were from a relationship with Pearl Wallace.
Correct.
And was the son the first child of the relationship and the daughter the second?
Yes.
So the son, if the daughter was 10 or 11, that would mean the son was born sometime before 2004, 2005, somewhere
Correct.
back there. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to get the dates in mind. Now, let's go back and talk a little bit about you. Where are you from originally?
Louisiana.
What
Zachary, Louisiana.
Zachary? How big a town is Zachary?
Everybody knew pretty much everybody. It wasn't that big.
Okay. Tell me, did you have were your parents together? Did you have brothers and sisters?
No, my mother's sister raised me.
Your mother's sister raised you.
My mother lived in Houston.
Your mother lived in Houston.
But she still does live in Houston.
How did you end up with your aunt?
I don't know. I mean, my aunt had two of her children, my oldest sister and myself. Well, one time she had three of them. So my oldest sister, my two older sisters and myself.
Okay, and then two children of her own? Sorry?
No, who, my aunt? Did my aunt?
I'm just, the family that you grew up in, I just want to know how many siblings or people that you lived in the house with.
Basically, it was two. Most 99% of the time, it was just my older sister and myself.
Okay.
But I have other siblings.
You, how many others?
Three.
And
Four. I'm sorry, four. It's
Four?
6 of us all together.
And where you didn't grow up with them?
No, we saw each other often, but I didn't grow up with them.
Where did you learn to be a parent?
From growing up, I guess.
I mean, did you parent your children the way you had been parented?
No.
How is it different?
I don't know, because, I don't know. I think the generation thing gap or whatever, because, well, I tried to raise my children, to be polite, and I guess being from the country or whatever and being raised by older parents, and back in those days, in the 60s, he was always polite and respectful to people, especially your elders. So that was one of the main focus with my children. And I mean, I know I wasn't a perfect mom, but I hear a lot from adults saying, where did your children get that from? Because they know it's not yeah, huh, and no. It's yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and always polite. So I raised mine a little different from where I was raised.
Was your aunt, was your uncle in the picture?
My aunt and uncle, yes.
Okay. And how, what kind of household did you grow up in?
In the country. We were basically poor, but we survived. It wasn't like we were on welfare or anything, but we went, like I said, in the country, and we raised cattle, chickens, pigs. We had a garden, and
when you got out of line, did you get a whooping?
yes.
Is that just sort of how you were raised? That you
Yes.
did what you were told, and if you didn't, you got the strap. Is that about how it was?
That's about how it was.
Now, how old were you when your oldest child was born? Takithia, I think you said it is. How old were you?
I think it was like 18 or 19.
18 or 19. And was she planned?
No.
So you got pregnant, 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
How much education had you had at that point?
I'm trying to think. I think I was in my senior year in high school.
Oh, senior year of high school. Okay. So, did you ever finish high school?
Yes.
Oh, good. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a way to say this. So, Takithia, you think, was born in 1980? Oh, no, Candace was 80.
80. T was 77.
77, okay. And who is your, and your youngest child are the twins?
Yes.
All right, and they were born when?
80. Wait a minute. Candace was born in 7 or 8. I think 80.
Let me see here. Hold on a minute. Make sure we get this right. You think the twins were born in 80? That makes 5 or 6 kids in just a couple of years. Does that?
I think 80.
Let me actually put it this way. How old is Takithia now?
33, 34.
33, 34.
In her
And-
30s.
I'm sorry?
He's in her 30s.
Okay, but somewhere like mid to low 30s?
Yes.
Okay, and then we just heard from Trenton that I guess he's 26.
Okay.
So all the kids are between,
They the babies.
they're the babies. So basically there's an 8-year gap between the oldest and the youngest.
Okay.
Does that sound about right?
Sound about right.
Okay. Now, with reference to Bessman, you said that at some point when you all first moved to Apopka, you left him with, I guess, his
dad.
stepmother's mother,
Oh, okay, yes.
for his father and stepmother to pick him up. Okay. How long was he living with his father and stepmother in Louisiana when you were in Apopka?
I'm not sure. I know it might have been daycare though.
Sorry?
I'm trying to think.
Sure. Was it a matter of months, a matter of years?
I don't think it was years because I remember he came to Apopka, but I don't know how long. I could say a year at least.
Okay. Let's see. You indicated that you worked at hotels.
Yes, sir.
What'd you do?
PBX operators.
Sorry?
Telephone operator.
Telephone operator. And do you still do that now?
Yes.
How long have you been employed as a telephone operator?
At the same place or just here?
At all?
Oh, 10, 15 years.
Have you always worked in some capacity, in some job, or were there times when you were not employed or a stay-at-home mom? I know
No.
it's a job in itself.
No,
Have you always had a job outside the home?
always had a job.
Always?
I mean, like, for an example, when I got arrested, because I was working for Orange County School Board, and then, of course, I had to resign from that. But other than that little gap, yeah, I always worked.
All right. I think you told us that at some point you moved out on Mr. James, right? Took the kids and left.
Yes,
And so that would have been you and 5 kids, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, is it 5 or 6? 5.
5.
So Keithia, Candace, Bessman, and then the twins.
Yes.
5. Okay. So you took 5 kids, you left Mr. James, and you went out on your own.
If I just left, I went to my mother's first, and then went
Okay.
on.
Why'd you leave?
Because we didn't get along. It was obvious. And he liked to drink, and I came from a family, I'm the only one in the family that I don't drink, smoke, or, and it's not that I knock anybody from drinking or smoking, but if you abuse it, then
So you don't drink,
no,
you don't smoke pot,
no,
you don't smoke crack.
no,
You go to work, and you raise your kids
the best I can, yes.
best you can. Was it tough during those years between leaving Mr. James and becoming involved with Mr. Sinclair? You said it was a quite a few years in there?
Yeah, it was tough.
Were you working the whole time?
Yes, and then you have to come home and see after the kids. It was tough. Not impossible, but, and after a while you get used to it.
Now, when you got arrested for the child abuse case involving Bessman, was part of your sentence to take parenting classes?
Yes,
And what did those parenting classes teach you?
nothing, but I went.
Pardon me? Nothing? Be honest.
I am nothing, but I went.
Okay. Did you change your parenting style or your discipline style after the classes?
Be honest, no.
Pardon me?
No,
No? Why?
because what will work for you may not work for someone else. And those things they were talking about was like, I'm like, really? No.
That's not how you were raised, right?
Well, it's not so much how I was raised is they would just say, go tell them to stand in the corner for 15 minutes. And
Now, Mr. Nako, asked you, and you said that Bessman got probably more disciplined and more whoopings than anybody else. Isn't it true that Bessman got in more trouble than any of your other children? Even when he was young.
even with who?
Even when Bessman was young,
Oh,
he was getting in more trouble,
yeah, he was getting a little trouble here and there. Yeah.
but more so than the other kids.
Yes.
And this was before the incident with Mr. Jeffers.
Yes.
Right. Even now, when Bessman's father died, he took it pretty hard, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That was tough on him.
It was. Yes.
Now, between the time that you brought him back to Orange County from Alabama and the time his father died, do you have an idea of how much time there was in there? In other words, was he away from his father for a couple of months and his father died, or a couple of years, or give us that idea?
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was months. I think it was a little long. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think it was a little longer than that.
Do you know who told Bessman that his father died? I mean, were you the one that had to break it to him, or?
I don't remember. No, I'm sorry. No.
All right. Did you try to find men to mentor Bessman, to give him a father figure?
Other than at the church, no.
Well, that's what I mean, at the church.
Oh, of course, yes.
Was the church a big part of your life?
Yes.
For how long? I mean, has church always been a big part of your life?
No.
Okay. So kind of take us through sort of when it became something significant for you.
It's been a while now, but I can't say what year. Well, for now, it's been over like 8 years. It's been a while. It may have been longer than that.
This is the Way of Life Ministry, correct? Why that church? How'd you get that church or start going to that church?
I had my neighbor across the street. She went to church there, and I'm laughing because she was always so pleasant and so nice, and she was going through a lot. But and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. She was, because like we would cross the street and we would swap little stirs, like we need to do this, that, and whatever. But anyway, make a long story short. And when I met my husband, he worked on the cruise ship, make a long story short, and I don't know how to cook. Never did.
You don't know how to cook?
No, at all. Anyway, so she cooked some food for me. She was married, and my husband from Jamaica. She married to a Jamaican, so she knew how to cook food. So when he came over, she cooked she did the whole spread for me. And I took it over to my house, and I threw some flour on the counter. I don't know what that was supposed to do, but make it look like I cooked. And and so I won him over with that meal.
Okay.
So, but then and I'm like, and I used to ask her how you do it, because she was going through a lot. Yeah. And she said, just trust in God. And I'm like, yeah, well, how you go, yeah, okay. And she took me to church. And
now, at the time the things happened with Mr. Jeffers, you had already started going to the New Life Ministry. Way of Life Ministry, excuse me.
I had been there a while. Yeah.
You've been there a while.
I was there before him.
Oh, you were there, okay. Well, what I'm getting at is that happened in 1999, so you would have been there for some number of years before 1999. Been going to
Yes.
church.
Yes.
Okay. And that would have been more like 16 to 18 years you've been going.
I've been going a while, yes.
Wow. Okay. Did the kids go?
Yes.
Was
Till they
that-
got, oh, I'm sorry. Till they
Sorry.
got grown.
Pardon?
Till they got grown, older.
Till they got
I should
older.
say. Yes.
So you would take them to church?
Yes.
Did you take them to Bible studies or Sunday schools or any of those kind of things?
Yes.
And how regular was that?
We would go Sunday morning because we have church. Well, we had morning and evening, but they cancel the evening. But we go Sunday mornings. We go early enough for Bible studies, and for service on Tuesday night we have Bible studies.
And was Bessman involved in that church too?
Yes.
In fact, at one point he was in a step group or something like that?
Yes.
What's that?
Praise steppers that they are bringing back now. It's like a military thing.
Okay.
And it sort of teaches them to be disciplined. And that was one of his mentors too, Brother William Reese. He was a mentor for Bessman.
I know we're going to talk a little bit about a negative mentor, Mr. Jeffers, but did he have positive mentors as well?
The William Reese, the one that was over the Praise Steppers.
Okay. Did they seem to have a close relationship? I mean, a real positive mentoring relationship?
To me, it seemed to be.
Did Bessman seem to, enjoy the appropriate attention he would get from
Yes.
him? Let's talk about Mr. Jeffers a little bit. Your understanding is that what happened between Mr. Jeffers and your son, as bad as it was, well, before we go there, your son was 14 when this happened, correct?
I don't remember the age, but okay.
I mean, I think if we
No,
look at the police report, we'll see it says 14.
Okay.
How big a boy was Bessman at 14?
He wasn't from what I could see now, he wasn't as big as he is now. He was big, but not as big as he is now.
Was he as tall as he is now, or a little bit shorter? And
He may have been, the height might have been kind of the same, but he wasn't as thick as
I know
he is
teenage
now.
boys tend to be skinny. You may.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Your son was very, very deeply embarrassed by what happened between him and Mr. Jeffers. Is that correct?
Correct.
He didn't want you to know at all, right?
Yes, correct.
And he certainly didn't want his friends to know or people in the community to know.
She can answer if she can.
Is that correct?
Correct.
I can't hear you, ma'am. You're
Correct.
sliding away from the microphone slowly, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. Correct.
Now, the document that counsel admitted would seem to indicate that the event occurred on October 3rd and the police were called in October 7th, so 4 days later. Does that sound correct in your recollection?
It could be. I don't remember the dates. I'm sorry.
Now, once Mr. Jeffers was charged, you were involved in talking to the prosecutor's office about the case. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you
Closer to the
recall
microphone, ma'am.
Correct.
having a meeting with an attorney by the name of, do you remember if the attorney's name was Mark Wickstrom?
No.
No, okay. Do you remember having meetings with the prosecutor, though?
No. I'm
Okay.
sure I did, but I don't remember it.
Okay. If I may approach and refresh the witness's recollection. I'll
Show counsel what you're using.
Let me just, if you could read this to yourself, where it says 11/24/99, just the part in black. Read it to yourself.
Okay.
Mr. Ashton, just step out here, will you? It's sometimes hard to read with somebody standing right next to you.
Does that refresh your recollection about the meeting you had with them?
No.
So do you remember them offering counts?
She said she does not remember.
Well, I'm gonna-
Did not refresh her recollection.
It didn't, but I'm asking her a different question now.
Okay.
Do you remember what?
I need to know what the objection is. I'm having trouble because there's no question outstanding. All right, approach.
Please proceed.
The question is, isn't it true that the prosecutor's office suggested and offered to help you get counseling for Bessman as a result of what happened with Mr. Jeffers?
I don't recall, but I'm sure they did.
Okay. And is it also true that you wanted to pursue that? You wanted to get counseling for Bessman?
I don't remember, but I would have wanted counseling.
Okay. And do you recall that Bessman really was not, at that point anyway, interested in pursuing
I don't
that?
recall.
Okay. Bessman was affected by this event involving Mr. Jeffers. It embarrassed him, it hurt him, it affected him, didn't it?
It did.
Did he continue to be able to have productive relationships with other mentors at the church, like the one you've mentioned with the STEP program?
Yeah, he would talk to Brother Reese, but I don't know to what depth, because it wasn't like Brother Reese would mentor him and he would just come and tell me.
Right. I mean, it's private conversation between the two of them.
Yes.
But my point is he continued to have someone, a male role model that he could talk to, even despite what Mr. Jeffers did.
Well, from what I understand, he talked to him, but it wasn't about.
No, I don't mean about
okay,
this.
I see what you're saying.
I just mean
yes.
he had that person.
He had a person.
Or persons.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Ruffin, despite everything, you love your son.
Of course.
And in fact, you would go to great lengths to protect him, wouldn't you?
It depends.
And in fact, between May of 2012 and the murder in September of 2012, you actually went to Brianna Campos and tried to bribe her with an offer of money or a car in order to drop the charges against your son.
You asking me or you telling me?
Well, I'm asking you if you will admit that that's true.
No, I wouldn't admit that's true.
It's not true.
I wouldn't admit that's not true.
Ma'am, you need to get closer to the microphone. We're having trouble hearing you.
You were convicted of that offense, were you not?
But does that mean that I was guilty of it?
Well,
by law, maybe.
it means you at least, if not admitted it, acknowledged to the court that there was enough evidence to sentence you for it. So, and you served a year in jail for that.
Okay.
And all of that you did for your son.
You asking me or you telling me?
I'm asking you.
No.
Nothing further. Redirect.
Ma'am, counsel asked you about whether you got whipped when you were a child by your aunt and you were living with your aunt and uncle, is that right?
Yes.
And you said you did, you had. Did you ever get stood up against a wall, stripped naked, and whipped with a metal belt buckle?
No.
Did you ever get whipped with 2 belts?
To be honest, I don't really recall getting whipping.
Again, I need you to move closer.
To be honest, I don't really remember getting whippings.
No one ever did to you what you did to us?
No.
When you were asked about the parenting classes, you said you got nothing out of them. Is that right?
Correct.
And in fact, you wrote a letter to the judge to try to get out of doing them at all, right?
kind of vaguely remember that, yes.
When, after Mr. Jeffers is a grown man, correct?
Correct.
He wasn't a
Teenage, no,
wasn't a young adult, he was a grown man.
correct.
And he was caught in your 14-year-old son's bedroom in the middle of the night.
Objection asked
Right.
and answered.
Overruled.
Well, objection, then hearsay. Wouldn't allow me to go into it.
Overruled.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he was naked, this grown man.
That's what I was told.
Okay. You were sent several packets from the state attorney's office of paperwork that you could fill out to get counseling for Bessman, right?
It could have happened. I don't remember.
You never filled any of those packets out, did you?
I don't remember doing it. I don't know if I did or not, but I don't remember doing it.
And I know you said you don't remember if your 14-year-old son wanted to get counseling or not, correct?
Correct.
Would it surprise you if a 14-year-old boy wouldn't want to talk to strangers about getting molested by a grown man?
Would it surprise me if he did not?
Right.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Can you imagine any 14-year-old boy would want to talk about things like that with a stranger?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Did you allow your children at age 14 to make their own medical decisions?
Objection, relevance.
State open.
Overruled. I'll allow it.
Did you allow your children at age 14 to make their own medical decisions?
No.
Nothing further.
I
Ma'am,
do have follow-up.
very limited to the recross.
Sure, this goes to the facts
Or
that she
redirect,
learned
excuse me.
about the offense.
Go ahead.
From what you were told about this offense, there was no force involved. Isn't that correct?
Sustained.
Do you know what the objection is, Judge?
Sustained.
May I approach and
You
argue?
may. Anything further? Ma'am, you may step down. Please be extremely careful coming down. Hold on to that side. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Hold on to that side of the wall over there. Mr. Naku, who's your next witness?
Trevor Sinclair.
Okay. Trevor Sinclair. Okay, I have not excused her, but you may want to, whoever had us under subpoena may want to.
I don't have an objection to her being exempted from the rule.
Oh, no, I think she should be excused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on forward, sir. Come up here and have a seat. Up here, the deputy is. Turn around towards that microphone there. You need to raise it up just a little bit. Our microphone is not very sensitive, and the chair is bolted to the ground. So I'm going to need you to either lean into it or scoot forward on the chair.
Okay, I scoot forward.
3 inches from the microphone.
Okay.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first name and your last name for the court reporter, please?
Trevor Sinclair.
And how do you spell it?
TREVOR-SINCLAIR.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sinclair.
Good afternoon, sir.
Were you married to Catalina Ruffin Sinclair?
Yes, sir.
Do
Yes.
you remember when you got married?
I think it was like June 23rd, 1994.
Okay. Well, and she wasn't even here to hear that you remembered the date you were married, your anniversary. I just have a couple of questions for you about an incident that occurred in October of 1999. Do you remember an incident where you caught a grown man in your son's bedroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who was the son who was involved in this incident?
Bessman Okafor.
And I'm sorry, I said son, but he was actually
Yeah, I accept it
your
as my...
wife's son. You know who I mean.
Yes, sir.
He's not actually your son.
No, he's my adopted son. Yes.
Okay. Did you legally adopt him?
No, no, really.
Okay. He is Catalina Ruffin Sinclair's son from a former marriage?
Yes.
All right. And do you remember the name of the man who you caught in his bedroom?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey?
I think.
Does Jeffers sound right?
Yeah, Jeffers. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know that man?
Yes.
What was his relationship with the family?
Well, he was just a friend from a church where we attend.
Okay. And do you know what time of day or night it was that that you caught him?
Say that again?
Do you know what time of day or what time of night it was?
It's about 1:30 at night.
Okay, so 1:30 in the
Approximately, yeah.
morning, after midnight?
Yes.
Were you already up, or did something wake you up?
No, I was out.
Oh, you were out.
I was out.
Ah, so you came home.
So I came home.
And how was it did you just happen to walk by the bedroom, or what happened? Do you remember?
No. What happened, I noticed a man, he was coming to my house, and he was kind of messing with playing with the kids, and and the way he was playing with them inside the room, locked the door, so I was just noticing it was something funny about him.
Oh, so you were already
I was just
suspicious?
observing, something funny about him.
Okay. Well, that night that you caught him in the bedroom, how was it that you happened to catch him?
Because I was observing what he was doing, I said, I know something's up with him. So I was watching him. And the night I came home, at that time I saw his car in my driveway.
I see. So you saw his car in the driveway?
In my
when you came
driveway, yeah.
home. And so did you go to the bedroom specifically to see if he was in there?
Yeah, I just parked my car behind his car, and then I went to the side door of my home and opened the door with the keys there. And I didn't turn the lights on or anything. I did not turn the lights on, so because I know my home, so I say he's with the kids at this time. He shouldn't be in my home this time. So, and I was already watching him. Okay. So because I suspect he was doing something, so I went straight to Mr. Okafor's bedroom, and I opened the door and just flicked the light on, and I saw him with his pants down, and he was on top of the behind Mr. Okafor.
He was, Mr. Jeffers had his pants down.
And behind, yeah.
Did he have any shirt on?
Yeah, he had a shirt on, but his pants was off.
His pants were off?
Yes, his pants, his underwear was off. Really.
And his underwear were off?
Yes.
And he was behind Bessman?
Yes.
Okay. Not okay. Did he stop whatever he was doing when you came in?
Oh yeah, because I rushed in on him. Yeah, he
You
stopped.
rushed in?
Yeah,
Okay. And what happened then?
and he said, you know, he said, I'm not doing nothing. And I said, how the hell? Well, sorry for my language. What the hell are you doing? You're not saying you're not doing something. So I say, what are you doing here this time? What are you doing to the boy? So we had a big argument right there. So I woke up my wife, turned lights on, I woke up my wife. And then after I woke up my wife, I told her what happened. And I called his wife and told him what happened.
You
Mr.
called
Jeffers'
Mr.
wife.
Jeffers' wife?
Yes.
Okay. I assume, did you kick him out of the house?
Yes.
But you didn't call the police that night?
Yes, we call Pastor what's his name again? It was a trooper. We
Was it
call
someone from the church?
yes, Roger. Well, no, I forget his name. But he was a trooper.
Okay.
It was from the police department. We call him.
Is that the only time that you actually caught Mr. Jeffers in the act of molesting Bessman?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only time I called him.
I'll turn to the witness, Your Honor.
Any cross?
First of all, let me congratulate you on your restraint, that you
Yes.
didn't just beat the you-know-what out of him.
Yes.
Did you consider doing that?
Say that again.
Did
Please?
you ever, when you found them, did you think about just beating the you-know-what out of
I
him?
thought about killing him, but I'm sorry, Bill. But
No, I agree. Thank you for your restraint. Now, when you opened the door, Mr. Jeffers' reaction was to basically stand up, and Bessman's reaction was to roll over and wrap himself in a
He
sheet.
jumped. Yeah, he jumped. Yeah, because Mr. Jeffers, he could even pull his pants up. You know, he pulled the sheet and wrap it around. I forget the part. He pulled the sheet and wrap it around him.
And when you first walked in, did Bessman say anything when you said, "What the hell's going on?"
I don't remember.
But you've indicated you were actually suspicious of what was going on between them even before this night.
Yes, I was suspicious, but I didn't want to accuse him. I also want to catch him because I know he would deny it, so I want to catch him.
Did that come from a concern for Bessman?
Well, it was coming from a concern for all the kids, because all of the kids in the house, it wasn't just Bessman alone. It was there, but he always in Bessman room, So.
Did Mr. Jeffers also sort of have a mentoring relationship with the two of the younger boys too?
No, but he didn't.
Did you later discuss this with Bessman?
Yes, we talked to him, yes. And
Talked to him.
he was ashamed. He went downhill from that.
I'm sorry, what?
He went downhill. He just acting out. He didn't. It was. It was devastating.
He was humiliated.
Yeah, he was. And it was devastating to him.
And he told you that in fact that other things had happened leading up to the event you saw.
Yes.
Okay. And as bad as it was, there was no force involved. Is that correct?
Sustained.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Could we approach and I
You may.
don't understand this.
Objection is sustained. Please proceed.
Mr. Sinclair, do you have a drinking problem?
No, sir.
Overruled. I'm going to allow it.
That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Any redirect? Thank you. Sir, you're free to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Please be careful stepping down if you would. There's a steep steps. Your next witness, Mr. Aku. Marcia Pete. We'll get it to spell it for you. Mr. Ashton, do you want this last witness to remain under subpoena?
No, not as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. And spell your first name and your last name for the court reporter, please.
Okay. My name is Marcia Pete, M-A-R-C-I-A, last name P-E-T-E.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
And I'm sorry, I missed what name you introduced yourself with.
Marcia Pete.
Marcia Pete. And your actual name is Renee Marcia Pete?
Marcia Renee Pete.
Marcia Renee Pete. Okay. And where are you from?
From Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Is that where you live now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Did you know Charles Okafor?
Yes.
Do you remember when you first met him?
Yes.
When was that?
In 1983, we worked together at Church's Fried Chicken.
And that was that in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
Did you know each other for a while before you, well, I should ask you first of all, did you begin dating him?
No, we wasn't dating. We just worked together.
Did you at some point date him?
Yes.
Okay. I knew you had because you married him. Did you marry him?
Yeah.
Okay. But before you started dating, before you married him, you knew him for a time.
Right.
About how long, do you remember?
Hmm?
Do you remember how long you knew each other before you started dating?
About 3 years.
Okay. Do you know who Catalina Ruffin Sinclair is?
Yes.
Were they already broken up before you started dating Mr. Okafor?
I didn't know anything about her until her son got dropped off at my mom's house.
I mean, but you knew he wasn't with another woman as well.
Right.
That's what all I meant to say. I'm not sure the good way to say that. All right. So when did you marry Mr. Okafor?
In 19, I'm thinking, it was 1996 thing.
1996 or 86?
86.
And did you and Mr. Okafor have any children?
Yes.
And what were your children's names?
Charles Okafor.
And just the one child?
Yes.
When did you first see Bessman Okafor?
When my mom called me and told me that he was dropped off.
Not for the truth.
I would drop that.
Yeah, overruled. Okay.
Well, my mom called and told me that some lady dropped a baby off at her house and said that his dad needed to come pick him up.
Who's your mom?
Daisy Provost.
Daisy Provost?
Yes,
And did she live in Baton Rouge?
yes.
Were you still living in Baton Rouge?
No, I was living in Houston, Texas
Okay. With
with
your
Charles.
husband and son?
Yes.
So what did you do?
I jumped in the car and I went and got him.
Had you ever met him before?
No.
How old was he?
He was about 3.
About 3 years old.
Yeah.
Did your mother know who he was?
No.
Was he dropped off with any explanation?
No. Just
To Houston?
yes, I did.
Do you know who dropped him off?
My mom told me his mom. I didn't.
Catalina. Leave anything with him?
She left a few clothes and a lot of underwear and stuff like that.
A few clothes and a lot of underwear?
Yeah.
Did you know at the time why she left a lot of underwear?
No, I didn't.
Did you find out later?
Yes, I did.
Hearsay.
It's not.
She can answer, did she find out later? Yes or no? She's not the substance.
That's all I was asking. We'll get to it later. So you found out later?
Yes.
Okay. And did you take Bessman home to live with you and your family?
Yes, I did.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Showing you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit AB for identification.
That's me.
Just take a look at it.
Okay.
Do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
Do you know the people in that photo?
Yes, I do.
Who are they?
That's me and my son,
And your son being,
Bessman.
is that, can you tell how long after you first got him that photo was taken? Do you know?
That was done in Houston, Texas, and maybe about a year.
A year later.
Yeah, a year later.
Your Honor, we're off to listen to evidence defendant's next.
Could I just see which one it was, if there were so many of them? It's hard to separate them out. Okay.
Any objection?
No.
All right, it'll come in as the next numbered exhibit.
And that's defendant's AB.
Thank you.
May I publish this to the jury?
You may.
And is this a photograph of you and Bessman Okafor?
Yes, it is.
And you said that was about a year after you got him?
Yes.
Do you remember the occasion or why that particular photo was taken?
Well, he wasn't in school at the time because he was so far behind, and I worked with him at home, and we used to come out and take pictures and play around in the yard and just to have a break, you know.
Let me ask you about just one moment. When you first brought Bessman home to live with you, did you have any problems with him?
No, I didn't.
Did you notice anything unusual about him?
He was quiet.
Okay.
He wouldn't talk much. He stayed in his room.
Let me ask you this. At the time, were you were trained as a social worker?
No,
Or you weren't? What were you doing at the time?
I was teaching special ed.
Teaching special ed. I'm sorry, my mistake. So you were familiar with children and their normal development?
Yes,
Okay. Did Bessman appear to be normally developed when you got him?
no,
Was he potty trained?
no, he wasn't.
Was he at an age where he should have been?
Yes, he should have.
All right. How did you find out he wasn't potty trained?
I went in his room and I smelled a bad odor. And I opened his closet and he had been taking off all his dirty underwear and put them in the closet in a bag. So he had a great big bag of dirty underwear.
Okay. And is that how you figured out why he arrived with a bag full of underwear?
Objection,
Yes.
Your Honor. That's speculation. Sustained. Restate.
That's all right, Judge. Did you just assume that he was already potty trained and was using the bathroom normally?
Yes, because he was of age.
Okay, so at his age, it wasn't even a close call in your opinion?
No,
Okay. Did he know his ABCs?
no, he didn't.
Was he at an age where he should have?
Yes,
Did he know his numbers?
no, he didn't.
Could he read or write at all?
No.
Approach witness, can
You might.
showing
You
you
may.
what's been marked as defense exhibit AA for identification. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes,
And what's that a photo of?
a photo of Bessman and my daughter, Renita, in his bedroom.
I offer this as defendant's next, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, what number is AA? Thank you. Any objection? Nope. Come in as the next numbered exhibit. Thank you. You may.
Okay. Whoop. Do you remember the occasion on which this photo was taken?
Yes, I do.
What was going on there that day?
We was trying to teach Bessman how to read and write because he couldn't read. So we cut out alphabets and numbers and we put them on this wall. And we had him just sing them and point to them. And then we had a chalkboard on the other side of his wall with his name on it so he could spell it.
And on the opposite wall of where the alphabet is shown, were there numbers?
Just numbers.
Okay. Similar in big numbers on the wall?
Yeah,
like that?
big numbers on the wall.
And why is the mattress up on the wall the way it is?
We was redecorating his room.
So is this when you first got him then?
Yes.
Were you able to help Bessman catch up on his reading and writing?
Yes, sir, I did.
On your own or through the school?
On my own.
Okay. Did you have help from the school?
A little.
Did you also have a problem with the school?
A little. Well, one of the teachers would tell me that my daughter was on a roll and Bessman was behind My daughter Renita was on a roll, and Bessman was behind, and she made the statement saying that Bessman is behind because he wasn't my natural child. So I made it a point to go home and make sure Bessman get the same education that my daughter had. So I didn't want to hear that statement again.
Did you infer from that she was accusing you of treating him differently?
Yes.
Were you?
No, I wasn't.
Did you work hard to get Bessman to catch up?
Oh, yes, did I.
And this is Renita, the girl who's with him,
Yeah,
who's the honor roll student.
yeah. Yes, I do. My niece Nisha Bessman, my daughter Tracy, my son Charles, my niece Crystal, and my nephew Junior.
And does that fairly accurately depict the way those kids look?
Yes,
Was that like Christmas time?
it was Christmas.
You know what year?
Ooh. Maybe like 87, 88.
Not sure.
I'm not sure. But her teeth is missing, so it's I think it's about that time.
Your Honor, I would offer this as defendant's next.
Any objection? Nope. Come in as the next numbered exhibit.
May I publish it, Your Honor?
You may.
Which one of those is Bessman's? In the middle in the back row?
The middle one, yes,
And Renita's?
is the one with the big smile with no teeth.
Oh, with no teeth, okay. So he's a bit older there and taller than when he first came to you?
Yes,
And I assume, are those Christmas presents in the background?
yes. Christmas was a big deal.
Okay. You look like you have a lot of presents back there, do you?
Yeah, Christmas was always a big deal.
Did Bessman get presents?
Oh, yes.
All the kids?
All the kids got
Did he get
gifts.
fewer presents than your other kids?
On Christmas, all my family got together and everybody bought everybody's child a gift.
You mentioned your daughter, Renita's your daughter?
Yes, Renita's my daughter.
And which one was Charles, your son?
Charles is the little bitty one that's by Bessman. That's
Of the kids
sitting right in front of Bessman.
Right, okay, so with the big giant
With the
smile
big
and the
giant
shirt.
smile, yes.
So those three were the ones living with you,
Correct,
and the others are nieces and nephews?
correct.
Were nieces and nephews. Okay. Did you treat Bessman any differently than your natural-born children?
I think I babied him a little bit more than I did my natural children because he needed it. He needed cuddling, he needed love, he needed support. He needed to know that he was no different than them, and he could learn like them, and he could be like them. So I did spoil him, yes I did.
Let me talk to you about your husband a little bit. Showing you what's been marked as Defendant Z for identification. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes. Charles, my husband, and his professor,
What's he doing?
graduating from college.
A bachelor's degree?
Yes, his bachelor's. Southern University.
Is that fairly accurately depict him on the day of his graduation?
Yes.
For this is defendant's next, Your Honor. This is Z for identification.
Any objection?
No.
Okay. I'll commend the next numbered exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may.
Can you see the photo on the screen there?
Yes.
Which one of these is Charles?
The tall one.
The tall, good-looking one.
Yeah.
Showing you what's been marked as AC for identification. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
Who's in that photo?
Charles and his team leader.
And his team leader?
Yes.
Do you know what the occasion is there?
He had his 10th year award from churches.
He was a 10-year employee at churches.
Yeah. Yes.
And was he a manager by then?
Yes.
I would offer this as defendant's next, Your Honor.
Judge, I just object cumulative. This is about the 10th photo we have of the late Mr. Okafor. I don't see a continuing relevance to more and more photos of him.
And purpose?
This shows him as his 10 years of working for the same employer full-time.
It's not disputed that he did that. I don't know what the 10th
Yeah.
photo of Mr. Okafor.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. It'll commend the next numbered exhibit. You may.
So is that some kind of a plaque indicating that he was, had 10 years of service?
Yes.
Do you remember if that was before or after he got his bachelor's degree?
That was before. No, that was after.
After.
Because that
So
was in Texas. Yes.
he earned his bachelor's degree while he was working full-time?
Yes.
Okay. Did he go on to attempt to obtain a master's degree as well?
Yes.
You, I think, told me already you were, had moved to Houston from Louisiana at some point? Is that right?
Yes.
And that's when you got the call that Bessman had been dropped off with your mother in Louisiana?
Yes, after I moved to Houston, yes.
Okay, so you came and picked Bessman up and brought him back with you to Houston?
Objection asked and
Yes.
answered.
Just leading into the next area of inquiry.
Okay.
then.
Yeah, we've already been through this, but go ahead. If it's preliminary. Go.
It is, and I'm done. So at some point, did you move back to Louisiana?
Yes, I did.
And the whole family,
Yes.
including Bessman?
Yes.
What was the reason for that?
Because my
We've already heard your husband died in a car crash, is that right?
yes, he went to sleep at the wheel of the car.
I'm sorry?
He went to sleep at the wheel of the car on his way to school.
Was Bessman still living with you at that time?
No,
Why not?
he went home for the summer.
Okay. So did his mother, Catalina, take him home for the summer?
Yes.
Did you want him to go?
No, I wanted him to go to summer school.
And why did you agree to let him go?
That was his mom.
When did your husband die? What month was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Let me ask you this, was it after the summer had ended?
Yes.
Why wasn't Bessman back with you?
She wouldn't bring him back.
Catalina wouldn't bring him?
No, she said she was going to try to work with him in school there.
Did you want him to come back?
Yes, I did.
Would you have welcomed him if you did?
Yes.
Did you take any legal steps to bring him back?
No, I didn't.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. So you can answer.
Yes, I did.
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
What do you do now? You mentioned you were a special education teacher.
Objection, relevance. She does now.
I'm going to allow it. Go ahead.
Right now, I have a nonprofit organization called the Brookstown Civic Association. Brookstown Civic Association, where I concentrate on problem kids, needy kids, kids in the community who don't have. I deal with parents who have lost their kids and can't afford to bury them, and I help them raise money to do so.
Objection, again, to the relevance of this.
Sustained. We've got the initial, what she does.
May we approach, Your Honor, because there is more along those lines.
Yes?
After Bessman left with his mother, his birth mother, shortly before Charles' death, did you ever see him again?
The day after my husband's funeral, she came and brought him and told him to give me a hug and told me that I'd never see him again. She left.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
We heard earlier that that you lost your son some years ago. Our condolences for that. I want to get a better idea of sort of the chronology here. You started dating. Did you work for Mr. Okafor, for Charles?
No.
Okay, but you worked at the same place.
Correct.
My understanding was he was a manager.
No, not at this time, no.
Had you met his wife and family while working with him for those 3 years?
No, I didn't know he had a wife and a family.
Oh, you weren't even aware he was married?
No, I wasn't.
Do you know exactly when he and Catalina divorced?
No, I don't.
So when you started dating him in '86, do you know if he was even still married?
Yeah, he was still married because he told me he'd filed for divorce. That's when I found out about it, yeah. That's when I found out about the family.
And did he tell you he had a son?
No,
He didn't tell you.
no. I didn't find out about the son until the son was dropped off at my mom's house.
So Mr. Okafor married you, and he never told you he had a son?
No,
So he never saw his son?
not while he was with me, he didn't.
All right. So when in '86 did you marry?
It was like, I think, September, October, or something.
Okay. September, October of '86, you married. When did you move to Houston?
The same year,
Yeah, '86?
yes.
So
The same
if you
year.
married September, did you move right after you married, or?
No, it was a while after.
Pardon?
It was a couple of months after.
Okay, well, if you married September, October,
Hmm.
then the only months you could move would be November, December, to still be in '86. Or did I misunderstand?
It had to be 87.
Okay. Oh, that's your recollection. How long were you married and living in Baton Rouge before you left to go to Houston?
Okay, we wasn't married while we was in Baton Rouge.
Okay, so you got married in Houston,
We was married in Texas, yes.
in Texas. Okay. So you moved to Texas sometime before September, October of '86 you were living together?
Yes.
When did you start living together?
We moved to Texas.
Okay. And at that point, you had no idea you had a son.
No.
So you moved to Texas in '86.
Yes.
And how long have you been in Texas when you got the call from your mother about Charles's son?
Maybe about 4 months.
Okay, so about 4 months.
Yeah.
So that means if you move there sometime in, okay, I'm just trying to get as much of a chronology as I can. How long do you think you were in Texas before you got married?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you got married in September, October of '86, that would mean you moved in '85.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you were only in Houston for a few months before Bessman came, that would make it sound like Bessman came before you were married. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so Bessman came into your
Before.
home before you were married.
Yes.
Okay, so Bessman would have gotten there sometime prior to September or October of '86.
Yes.
Are you aware what Bessman's date of birth is?
I don't remember.
Okay. Would you be surprised if it was November 29, 1984?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. So that would mean that when he came to you, he was less than 2 years old.
Yes.
Okay, then I'm a little bit confused because would you expect a child who was under 2 to be potty trained, know their ABCs, and know their numbers?
Mine did.
Okay. But so when you talked about Bessman being delayed, you meant that by the time before he was 2, he didn't know his ABCs, his numbers, and wasn't potty trained.
Correct.
And you feel that that a normal child would have had all those attributes before the age of 2.
Yes, or close to them, yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
Okay. How long did Bessman live full-time with you let me stop that. How long were you in Texas before you moved back to Baton Rouge?
I think about 2 years.
2 years, okay. And was Bessman with you through the move back to Baton Rouge?
Yes, he was.
Okay. When did your husband die?
In 93, I think, 92, 93.
Okay. And when did, how long did Bessman live with you before his mother took him back?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, so that would have been through like 89, 86 to 89. Okay. So in the 3 or 4 years between when Bessman went to live with his mother and when your husband passed away, how often did they see each other?
Repeat that, please.
Yes, between the time that Bessman came back to Florida to live with his mother and the time that your husband died, which appears to be about 3 or 4 years, how often did they see each other?
Did they see each other?
Did they see each other?
To my Bessman and the mom?
No, Bessman and your husband, Charles.
They didn't. She'd have been bringing back. They didn't see each other.
How often did Charles travel to Florida to see Bessman?
He didn't.
He didn't?
No.
So while Catalina made no effort to let Bessman see Charles, Charles made no effort to see his son during those 3 or 4 years.
It was a conflict with them about Bessman coming back to live with us. 'Cause
Okay,
that's
but
where,
the point being that your husband never attempted to come and visit his son in the Pop.
no, he didn't.
After your husband passed away in 90, you don't remember which year it was, 92 or 93?
I think it was 93.
93? Okay.
It's been a long time ago.
Oh, I understand. And Catalina did bring Bessman to the funeral.
No, she didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said she brought her to Baton Rouge.
After the funeral, the
After
day
the funeral.
after the funeral.
How long after the funeral?
The day after the funeral.
Okay, so you brought her to Baton Rouge. Did she bring Bessman to your home?
Yes.
And she told him, give her a hug.
Yes.
Do you know why she brought Bessman all the way from Apopka to Baton Rouge?
Just to give me a hug, I have no idea. And to tell me that I will never see him again, no, I have no idea.
Well, you would agree that once his father died, you really would have had no right to custody of him anyway.
Correct.
So even if he'd stayed with you once his father died, he would have gone back to his mother anyway.
Correct.
Did you eventually remarry? Obviously, your name is different. I assume you must have remarried.
Yes.
When was that?
8 years ago.
Okay. When you, no further questions. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Redirect.
Ma'am, let me see if you can help me with some dates here. Was your son Charles already born? Bessman came to live with you.
Yes.
Okay. And how old? What year was Charles born?
In 87.
87. Okay. So if Bessman was born in 1984, it was at least 1987 before he came to live with you.
Yes.
So he wasn't under 2 years old.
No, he wasn't.
And does that fit with your recollection that he was old enough that he should have been potty trained?
Yes.
Sustained.
And again, when he arrived on your mother's doorstep, he had with him a big, was it a bag, a suitcase?
A bag.
Objection
Just a
sees
bag.
the scope across. There's no questions about any of that.
I'm going to allow it. It deals with potty training, I'm assuming is what we're talking about.
He had a bag full of underwear.
Yes,
I mean, you noticeably a lot of underwear.
yes.
And do you remember when in '87 that Charles was born, your son?
Yes,
What was the month?
April.
April. Okay. Did Bessman start pre-K in Houston?
Yes,
How long after he arrived did he start pre-K?
a year.
Okay, and that would have been what age? Did
He
start-
was a year behind, so it would have been 5.
Would have been 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was more like 4.
Objection leading.
What age would you estimate he was when he arrived?
3.
3.
Yes,
Okay. And again, you were a special education teacher at that time.
right.
You were trained in not only children, but children with special needs.
Objection leading.
Yes.
And asked to answer.
Okay, we are repeating ourselves.
Well, okay, yes, sir. Counsel suggested that Charles never went to visit Bessman after Catalina took him back to Florida, right?
Right.
And you conceded that, but did you expect to get him back?
Yes, I did.
Did you know that she was taking him permanently?
No, I didn't.
Did you think she was just taking him for the summer?
Yes, I did.
Did she tell you that?
Yes.
Okay. Was Charles cheating on Catalina with you?
No.
Okay. Were they already broken up?
Yes.
When you were living together as a family in Houston, it was for a time before you were married.
Yes.
Were you a committed couple to each other?
Yes.
Were you cheating on him?
No.
Did you have any reason to think he was cheating on you?
No.
You were a family.
Right.
Do you think you'd be with
Objection
him to
sees the
this?
scope of cross and relevance.
Overruled.
Were you happily married to Charles Okafor when he died?
Yes, I was.
Nothing further.
You have some.
Redirect.
Yeah. I'm really just trying to get the dates of these things straight as much as possible. I believe you told me a few moments ago that Bessman arrived as part of your family before you got married.
Yes.
Okay. And you're sure you got married in 1986?
I'm positive. Pretty positive. Yeah, I think so. No. Because my son was born in 87. So it was 87.
Okay, was your son born before you got married or after?
Before.
Before. Okay. When was your son born?
In April.
April of 1987. Is that correct?
Yes, and we got married a month after he.
Okay. So sometime between the birth of your son and your marriage date, that is when Bessman arrived.
Yes.
So that would be between April of 87 and May of 87. Correct?
Yeah.
To the best of your recollection. And again, if you don't recall, that's okay, but as much as you can help us with.
I think so. It's been a long time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if he arrived in that window, would you agree he would have been about 2.5?
He was 3.
Okay. So which of which of those things do you think you're mistaken about? I mean, obviously, you're not mistaken about your son's birthday.
No.
That I'm sure you'll never forget. Do you think it's your wedding date that you've, or did he come after you were married?
No, he came before we was married.
Okay. So it's after your son's birth, but before you got married, and your best of recollection now is that you were married a month after your son's birth.
Yes, because we took my son to Nigeria after we got married.
Okay.
After he was born.
All right.
Yes.
So you would agree with me that if that is all correct, that Bessman was 2.5? Overruled. And it's just that's how the math works out, isn't it?
Okay, well, I guess.
Okay. I know you're vague about a lot of these dates. I'm curious though. You seem to have some problem with the dates, but you have this great specific recollection of this bag of underwear. Why was the bag of underwear at the time such a big deal?
Because he was hiding them, and he wasn't potty trained. And if I would have known, I would have helped him.
Right.
So apparently, if he was hiding them, he knew he was big enough to know he was doing something wrong.
Okay. Now,
Right.
when Catalina takes him back that summer, again, I think we said that was 3 or 4 years before your husband's death. She was going to bring him back that fall.
Yes.
Now, at some point, y'all must have realized that he wasn't coming back, right?
Correct. Correct.
And I just want to make sure I understand, even once your husband discovered that he wasn't coming back, he never made an effort to go and see his son, correct?
He made an effort. He called her. He kept calling her and trying to talk to her and trying to get him back.
But, I mean, he never just got in the car, drove to Apopka to see his son.
Didn't. No, he didn't.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Ma'am, you may step down. You mean re-redirect? Yeah, come up and proffer it to the court first, please. Ma'am, you may step down. Thank you very much. Call your next witness. Okay, and I'll give the jury then a short break at this time. Okay? Folks, we're going to go ahead. We have some other witnesses to get on today. Please do not discuss the case. Please do not take your pads back. Keep an open mind. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. 15 minutes.